Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My hair is a different color now. I promise I don't really dye my hair that much. I just haven't been filming a whole lot of videos recently because school just started again and it is just crazy. So between that and my work, I haven't had time to film videos. But today I am filming another book haul because I asked on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go check that out. It's stories_books, and I put polls on my stories just to kind of see what you guys would be interested in on the channel. So I had asked, should I film another book haul now or should I wait till I get more books, because I just put one out, but I was like, I'm already ready to film another one because I have more books. Anyways, and you guys said no. So it was close though. It was close. So I do really appreciate when you guys vote because it helps me a lot because I can't make a decision for my life. Ranking these books, as I'm going to rank them again as I did for the first book haul, just kind of like my order of excitement to read them. But it's a lot less strict than it was the first time, I would say, because I could not make a decision for the life of me. I was sitting on the floor for like half an hour just staring at all of them, just being like, I don't know. So yeah, there's a couple things that affected my ranking. Some of them I'm like, I don't think this sounds as good, but it has a lot of hype. So then it kind of bumped it up. Honestly, that's a big part of it. So yeah, let's just get started. So the first thing I want to show is not a book, but I don't know if you guys can see this. Look at me. I'm a YouTuber, I'm a vlogger, beauty guru. This is something that my boyfriend's mom gave me for Christmas, and so he's going on my shelf somewhere. This is Harry Potter. It's a little tiny like stuffed Harry Potter with a little present. He's adorable. I don't know where he's going yet, but he's gonna go somewhere on my shelf, and I still have yet to do a shelf tour. But anyways, I just wanted to show that off because I think he's so cute. I also wanted to say that the first book I'm going to talk about isn't one that I'm counting in my ranking because it's not a novel, and all the rest of these are, because that's usually what I read. But my dad got me this one for Christmas and I thought it sounded so cool, and it's Stephen King on writing. So it's basically, he's talking about like the basic tools of his trade and like what he does to write, and also like his ability to vividly depict a story and remembering all these stuff and like childhood memories, college memories, like that kind of thing. So I just thought that that was so cool and really interesting. I am an English major and I do really enjoy writing. Not planning on it as like a career choice, but still. Yeah, I just thought that this was really cool, and I'm definitely, I cannot wait to pick away at this, but I didn't include it in the novel ranking because I don't know how to compare this to a thriller, let's say, which a lot of these are thrillers. It is not hard to tell when you look at my stack of books that I will be reviewing that I like horror and thriller. Okay, so I have 20 books to rank. When I say 20, think of that lightly because some of them are like box sets and some of them are split up even though they're in the same series. Basically, the numbering system is not going to make any sense to anybody except for me. So sorry about that, but I just needed to make some decisions and just stick with them and not overthink everything. I did watch some other book hauls that people were doing on BookTube, because I wanted to see how everybody else does them, and people kind of just like pick up a book and talk about it, which is fine. But then I'm like, which book should I say next? Like, I was like, I just need to rank them. I think it's an interesting thing. A lot of people like tiered lists or rank lists anyway, so I just kind of combined the two. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started. So number 20 on my list is Chevy Stevens' Never Let You Go. This book is a thriller. I'm just going to talk about these books very briefly. Also, I'm not going to do as much as I did last time. It's a thriller about a woman who leaves her abusive husband with her daughter, and they start a new life and she thinks everything's fine, and then all these weird things start happening and people are like breaking into her house, and she assumes that it's her ex-husband, but he swears that he's like a changed man and all this stuff. So then she's trying to figure out, okay, is it actually him or is it really somebody else? The reason that this is so low is because this was very much an impulse buy. This was $2 at such a cute little store. I live in Eastern Canada, so it's in a community called Oysterbed, and it's called Lilacs and Lanterns, and it's kind of hard to find, but it just has like the cutest things inside of there. And this was one of the books on the shelf, and I picked it up because Chevy Stevens just wrote Dark Roads, which was like in Indigo's top 10 or 20 books this year, I don't remember, or last year I guess, like 2021. And I don't own that one, but I really wanted to, and I should have got it when it was on sale, and I didn't. But I know that people seem to really like her writing, and for $2, all of their books there were $2. So I was like, for $2, and it's in like super good condition. I don't even think it's ever been used. Like, it's that nice. So yeah, it sounds a little bland, but I love thrillers, and with her writing, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not try it? Number 19 is the 5th book in Miss Peregrine's, which is The Conference of the Birds. This one is so low because I read the first 3 books and I thought he was only going to have the 3 books. I don't know why I thought that. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, the 6th book came out. And I was like, what? So I don't remember any of them, but they've been bothering me for years that I haven't read them because I loved the first 3. So I don't remember the first 3, and I don't know that I'm going to reread them necessarily because I'm not a big rereader. So if I can find a summary somewhere online, that would be good. And I know that this is the 5th one and not the 4th one. I do not own the 4th one, but this was also $2. This was at Bibles for Missions in Charlottetown. And yeah, also really good condition and hardcover, which all my other ones are hardcover. So yeah, I just felt like I had to get it. So I will be reading the 4th one hopefully this year. But yeah, this one's so low just because it's not at the top of my priorities to figure out what happened to Miss Peregrine's and then keep reading on from there. But I do want to do it before I die, basically. Number 18 was kind of an impulse buy. This is called The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. And to be completely honest, I'm not even 100% sure what it's really about. There's stuff about psychics, but I think she's like pretending to be a psychic. And then she goes to like a haunted house, and then it's like she doesn't need to pretend anymore because there's so many like ghosts there. Like now she actually believes in ghosts and just all this stuff. I bought this for 2 reasons. One, it was all over Book Talk. I was seeing it everywhere. I think I'm on like a really niche section of Book Talk though. Also, I love Gillian Flynn's writing. She wrote Gone Girl. She also wrote Sharp Objects, which I haven't read Gone Girl, but I'm going to read it this year, I swear. But Sharp Objects was a book that really, I knew, okay, thrillers is my favorite category, at least for now, or my favorite genre to read. So I'm excited to read this because I really like her writing and it sounds like a super interesting story. And the back says, you like ghost stories, with a question mark. So yeah, I'm really interested in this. And I think it'll be so fast. Like I can read this in an hour. So that should be interesting. Number 17 on the list is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I have always wanted this book. This was the first Lisa Jewell book I actually ever heard of and wanted, and now I have... Oh, I just rearranged all my bookshelves and now nothing is where it used to be. Oh, they're there. Okay, I have 2 of Lisa Jewell's books. I still haven't read any of them. 2, not including this one. I have The Family Upstairs and The Night She Disappeared. Yes, that is what it's called. Which I did in my last book haul video, I believe. So, Then She Was Gone is about a woman and her daughter goes missing, and then it's 10 years later and she's kind of just trying to move on with her life. And then a man shows up and one of his daughters looks exactly like her daughter that had gone missing. So then she starts to kind of dive back into the case and she's like, and why is this girl so similar to hers? I don't know. This one has intrigued me forever. And again, it was $2 at Bibles for Missions. I need to start looking for books there more often. I had no idea. That's my bad. Anyways, the reason that this one is so low is honestly just because, unlike my first book haul video, this one, I feel like they're all really good. Like I would pick up all of them and read them right now. There's none that I'm really putting off except for like the other 2 that I mentioned at the beginning. But other than that, I'm really happy with all of my purchases, so that's why this was such a hard ranking decision for me. But yeah, unfortunately this has to go a little bit nearer to the bottom just because, guys, wait till you see what I have. First and foremost, I would like to apologize if the camera angle or the lighting is different, as I did just have to fix everything because my camera turned itself off again. So there was only one book that I explained that it didn't include, so it's fine. It's fine. So, next on my list, number 16 is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is one of those ones that it's even as high as it is, and high being 16 out of 20 because of all the hype surrounding it, because I do think it's a little bit young for me, but I've heard so much about this. This is basically about a murder that happens at a private school, and the murderer leaves a note and signs it and then disappears, and it was never solved. the main character goes to the school and it's her first year, and she has decided that she's going to be the one to solve this murder, and then the murderer like reappears, and then it says, and someone has just gotten away with murder, so I'm thinking somebody else was murdered maybe. Yeah, I am really excited for this one. Like, I do think that I would like it. I think if I was maybe 4 years younger, it would be at the top of my TBR. There's just so many in here that I'm really excited to read, and yeah, it's just that I've heard a lot of really good things about this. So also, I look at it every time I go into the bookstore, so then it was like, feel like I need it. Number 15 is Scythe by Neil Schusterman. Like Mr. Schuster from, is that even his last name? You guys, I'm so tired. Anyways, I meant to say from Glee, you know, the really creepy guy.
Hump day.
Ew, David!
Yeah. I've also just heard a lot of really good things about this book. Also been looking at it for longer than Truly Devious. This one was probably like 3 years that I've been looking at this. So I was like, and it's not even expensive. I was like, I have bought so many other books by now. Like, why haven't I bought this yet? So anyways, I bought it and I made the decision. This is kind of like a post-apocalyptic world from what I understand. And now the only people that can end life are the Scythes, and they are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. So then there's 2 people that are chosen to apprentice, and neither of them want the role, and so then they're trying to like master the art of taking the life, but if they fail they could lose their own. It's this low because I just feel like there's not a whole lot of like plot description there. But I've heard so many good things about it, and guys, if I read the first one and don't like it, I don't have to finish the series. I need to learn that. Anyways. Number 14 is Lies Like Poison by Chelsea Pitcher. I have another one of her books that I also haven't read yet, and it is This Lie Will Kill You. This is basically about 3 little girls, I feel like. Maybe they're not actually little, but they decided they want to do anything to protect their friend, and they discovered that he was being abused by a stepmother. They come up with a lethal plan. Petals of Poppy, Belladonna, and Lily, which are their 3 names, like the 3 girls are named after flowers, which is really cool, which would be poisonous, and they were going to poison her so that she would die, but they don't end up going through with it. 3 years later, on the eve of their friend's 17th birthday, so I was right, so they were like 14, his stepmother is dead, but it's only Belladonna found in the tea, so then of course everybody starts suspecting Belladonna, but like she swears she didn't do it. And yeah, I don't know, like again, there's not a whole lot of plot for this either, but it's such a unique concept. I've never heard of anything like that before, and this was another one that I looked at for a long time before I was like, I should just buy it. I should just buy it. And you know what made me pull the trigger on it is my boyfriend said, I'll buy you a book. And then I said, this one, because I've been wanting it forever, and for some reason I can't seem to buy it for myself, even though I can buy myself many other books. I don't know. This is my cat who's stomping around, just in case you were wondering. Whoa! He's big, but like me too. He's not sure what just happened. Number 13 is Sleeping Beauties by Stephen King. This is one that I saw and read the back of when I was probably 14, maybe younger, and I thought it sounded so interesting, but I had already bought it and hadn't read it. And I only finished that last year, and I remember being with my mom, and I was like, this sounds so good, can I get it? And she was like, no, because you still have the other Stephen King one, and this one had just come out. She said, you still have the other Stephen King one that you haven't even read yet. And I was like, but I'm gonna read it, and I didn't read it for so many years, so she was probably right about that. This book sounds interesting. Honestly, I'm not even gonna try to describe it. Sorry, you can look up a summary. I just don't want to butcher it. I don't want to butcher it. It's not in the greatest condition. It was found at Value Village. I was asking my boyfriend to look out for it for me, and he found it. So yeah, I'm really excited to have this. I don't know when I'll read it, because I just finished it, and I mean, that took a lot out of me. So I don't know how quickly I'll get into it, but yeah, I think that this one sounds really interesting. Look it up. Again, this is an adult book. If you're a child, don't read it. I literally just realized I completely forgot that Owen King, Stephen King's son, also helped him write this, and I just was like, it's Stephen King. So it's by the Kings, and I think I said Sleeping Beauty, and it's Sleeping Beauties. But anyways. Number 12 is Mary Will I Die again, I like horror things. I specifically picked up this one because Bloody Mary was the only thing as a child that like actually scared me, and scared me for years, like traumatized me, scared me. This is basically about these friends that play the game of Bloody Mary, which is when you look in a mirror and you say her name 3 times and then supposedly she appears and you're cursed and whatever. Again, it really scared me as a kid. And then one of them actually sees her, and then they all pretend it's fake, that they didn't see anything, and they're like, yeah, nothing happened. And then it's like years later, and they're not really friends anymore, but all this weird stuff starts to happen, and it's like Bloody Mary getting her revenge because she only wants one thing. They don't say what the one thing is, but... And yeah, I think this one sounds really interesting, definitely scary. I will be reading this in the daytime surrounded by people in a public area. Yeah. Now, this is where I said it gets a little tricky. Number 11 is actually 2 books. And it's the Six of Crows duology. Now, don't kill me for this being number 11. Similar to the Red Queen, like I talked about last time, I just don't read a whole lot of fantasy. But this was on sale. And I think it was accidentally on sale at Indigo, because they were like, where did you find it? And when I showed them, they were like, okay, yeah, give her the discount. And then they moved all of them, so oopsies. But this was always like, when I thought I should start reading fantasy, this is what I always wanted to start with. I just realized there's plastic on it, so I don't know if you can see it, but it's a hardcover duology box set. And yeah, this is number 11, just because I've heard really good things about it. That's why it's so high. It's so low because I don't read a whole lot of fantasy, so I'm nervous to get into it, that I won't like it. That's why I kind of didn't want to buy the second book, but the price was really good for these. And they're both hardcover, and they're really pretty. So yeah, I bought this. Number 10 is The Devil Makes Three by Tori Bovalino. Maybe. This one is my newest purchase. I just bought this one the other day. Basically, it's this girl and she's working at a boarding school library. But then the insufferable headmaster's son, which sounds like enemies to lovers to me, he requests a mind-boggling number of occult books, and then they both find a secret tunnel, leads into an ancient book. When they open it, they accidentally release the devil, and he'll stop at nothing to stay free. And then it said he'll manipulate all the ink in the library books to do his bidding, he'll murder in the stacks, and he'll bleed into every inch of her life until his freedom is permanent. And so then they have forced to work together, again, enemies to lovers. They have to find a way to retrap the devil before he kills everyone they know and love, including each other. See? Compared to what the devil has in store for them, death by boredom suddenly didn't seem so bad after all. This one, I have so many feelings about this one. I think this one sounds so cool. I've never heard anything about it. I didn't look it up on Goodreads. I don't know what the rating is. I just straight said, yeah, I need that, and bought it. I want to own a bookstore, for those of you who don't know, and my favorite genre is like horror or thriller, and then enemies to lovers is my favorite like romance trope. So like, how was I supposed to not buy it, you know? Anyways. The next book is The Black Phone Stories by Joe Hill. For those of you who don't know, Joe Hill is actually a, I don't know how to say this right, but like a pseudonym for Owen King, Stephen King's son. So he writes under Joe Hill sometimes, which I think he did. I'm not going to say that because I don't know if that's true, so I'm not going to lie. The reason I picked this up is there's a movie coming out in June, I think, is when it was scheduled, when I saw it scheduled to come out. And I really wanted it, and it was 20% off, and I had a gift card. And then also I like that it's stories. Like The Black Phone itself, which is what the movie is that's coming out, which is what the front cover is, it's only like 20 pages. So that's cool. Like they're all really short. And I like just being able to like pick one up and then like read a little story and then like set it down again. And then I don't need to worry about like how long has it been since I read that? Will I remember anything? Like he does a lot of compilation books. I'm currently reading Strange Weather, which is a collection of novellas of his. And I read the first one in that, and it was really good. And I started the second one and then didn't end up really getting further than a page because I realized it was going to be scary and I was going to bed. So I definitely recommend Joe Hill's stuff, and I'm really excited for this movie, so yeah, I kind of had to do it. The next one is The Silent Patient by this person right here. Alex Michaelides. Sorry. I'm not even gonna try, honestly. This one, if you haven't seen this one all over everything and everywhere, Where have you been? I've seen so much for this one. My lovely friend Grace got me this one for Christmas. She's such a dear. She's like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm like, a book. And then she's like, cool, which one? And then I tell her, and then she's like, awesome. And then she gets me the book. It's like the best system in the world. So this is basically about a woman, and it's like her life is perfect and like everything is awesome. And then her husband returns home from work. She shoots him in the face 5 times and then never speaks another word. And then it's basically, she's an artist, and so all of her work starts to get really expensive because she's famous now. I can't think of what the word is, but she's in a psychiatric unit, and so then it's like the criminal psychologist is captivated by the story, and he's like trying to work with her and figure out what happened and trying to get her to talk. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds really cool. I like psychology stuff, although I learned the hard way, not enough to take psychology as a major. I learned that the hard way. But I find it really interesting. So this one I am definitely excited for. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. On the back, there's so many people that praised it, you know, like praise for Silent Patient on the back or whatever. So one of them was AJ Finn, who wrote The Woman in the Window, which is one of my favorite books of all time, and was basically saying the perfect thriller. I couldn't put it down. I told myself I'd just dip in. 11 hours later, it's now 5:47 a.m. I finished it. Like, guys, I needed it. So I'm really glad to have this one. Thank you, Grace. Here's where I said that the numbers are not going to make any sense to anybody else except for me, because these two I counted as 2 different numbers. But they're the second and third. I don't know which way is right once it like, I don't know. Janelle would know. This is the second and third A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I finished the first one and I was like, oh, I need the second one immediately so that I can keep reading this story, because I honestly was in such a book slump I didn't want to read anything else. But I managed to get into Caraval, finish Caraval, great book, recommend. So I didn't end up reading this right away, but I mean, I'm still glad I got it, because of course I'm going to read it. And then I went to Indigo the next week, and the third one, which I was like, I'm probably going to read that one too, was 30% off, because they were having a sale. I feel like I'm, like explaining myself to you, but you guys are probably readers if you're watching this, like you get it. Like, you know, and if you know me personally, you know that I have issues with buying books. So, yeah, these two. Number 5 on my list comes with a story. Besides me, Mrs. Story. And also, besides, no pun intended, scary stories to tell in the dark. I found this trilogy. Now, okay, I wish that it wasn't the movie covers. They're cool, don't get me wrong. This is what the actual books themselves look like. They're really hard to take in and out. So, like these 3. Anyways, which are scenes from the movie. I really hope that they make a second one. I grew up reading these books, and I know I said before The City of Bones was the first series that got me into reading, which it was. But that would have been grade 4-ish, 5 maybe. I read these like way too young, like probably grade 1 or 2. And this is what got me into like actually reading. Like, I don't mean like I read a YA book and I was like, oh, I'm a reader now. These were like my Harry Potters. Like, I didn't read Harry Potter until middle school. But when I read these in elementary school, I was like, this is great. I love this. It's also what got me interested in like horror and spooky stuff. Again, I was definitely too young to be reading them because some of them I can remember very vividly. I remember also being very scared of them in the middle of the day. So, yeah. But it's fine. And I always wanted to own them really bad. I never even really looked into it, so I don't know how much it would be. This particular box set was $30, and it was on sale for $12. And it was still shrink wrapped and everything, so they must have just had too many and they were on clearance. But yeah, I bought this because was I supposed to not? But that's another way that I said the numbers aren't going to make any sense, because this one is a box set as well, and I'm counting it as one, same as the Six of Crows. Even though the As Good as Dead and Good Girl Bad Blood, I counted as 2 separate books. Because then I had an even 20 to like rank, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. Number 4 is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This one is one I've also been looking at for a really long time. It was really expensive though. This is an adult book, it's $36. And it's kind of similar to the plot of Escape Room, which is on Netflix, and I highly recommend it. And it's basically about all these girls that survived horrific accidents, and they were the only one that survived, and they have a support group, but then somebody starts to pick off the girls one by one, and they kind of have to figure out like who it is that's trying to hurt them. Yeah, this one sounded really cool because Escape Room is like one of my favorite movies. So once I got gift cards for Christmas, this was the first one that I bought. And it was the last one there, and there was another girl looking for one, and the employee was like, oh, it had been right here, and I was standing there holding it, and I was like, so I'm really sorry to that girl, but I've been wanting this for months, so I'm also like kind of not sorry. Now my top 3. Number 3 is The Whisper Man by Alex North. This is another one that I looked at for a really long time, and then once I got gift cards, went for it. This is about a man and his wife dies very suddenly, and so he thinks that moving will help him and his son heal. But 20 years ago in their new town, a serial killer abducted and murdered 5 residents until the guy was caught. He was called the Whisper Man because he would stand outside and like whisper to people at night to get them to come close, and then anyways. So then the two of them settle into their new home, and a young boy vanishes, and it's really similar to the Whisper Man's crimes like 20 years prior, but it can't be because the man is in jail. And so the detectives are trying to figure out what happened, and then the boy begins to act strangely, and he says he's hearing whispering at his window. So that gives me goosebumps like now, and I've read the back of this so many times. This sounds like thriller and horror. Yeah, I'm just really excited for this. I can't say anything else besides that. Number 2 would have been number 3 instead of The Whisper Man, but again, the hype really got to me. So this is All These Bodies by Kendare Blake. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This one was all over Book Talk for so long. I think it might have even been in the summer though, and it's now January, so it was a while ago, but the only thing that's a little bit negative about this for me is I don't really like anything like period piece. This isn't even like period, this is 1958, but I don't like anything that isn't present day. I don't know how to explain that otherwise, but and there's a bunch of murders happening, and they're found in their cars and their homes, bodies drained with no blood anywhere. So then I was like not really interested. I feel like it's about a vampire. And so then a whole family is slaughtered in the house, and the case gets its first lead because there's a 15-year-old found in the house, and she's covered in blood from head to toe, but not a drop of the blood is hers, and she's the only survivor. Son of the local sheriff wants to be a journalist, and he's like, okay, this is incredible that I get to cover this case, like this is awesome. And the girl actually decides that he is the only one that she will confess to. And as she's talking about her version of the story, it falls on him to find the truth as like what really happened. How did one girl wind up in all the middle of these bodies? In the middle of all these bodies. Yeah, so I think that the concept for this one is really cool. Definitely got me wondering like what's going on here, and I really hope it doesn't involve vampires because I'll be so disappointed. Not that it's fine. I read Twilight. I grew up with Twilight. That's fine. That's not, I just want a scary, spooky, no vampire. Anyways. Number 1. I have been wanting this book for so long. I ordered it in October, and then my dad stole it. Basically, no. I asked him to order it, and then I wasn't sure if he actually did order it or if it ever came in because I didn't hear anything. And then I unwrapped it at Christmas, which is what I was hoping would happen. So this is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and you guys, this book is so hard to find. All y'all readers stealing this book. And I really wanted a hard copy, and my bookstore only had soft covers, and there's only ever like one, and then it would disappear the next day. First of all, love Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She's one of my favorite authors simply because she wrote the Natural series, which I love, and I'm currently reading the 4th one, and I wish that I wasn't in school so that I could just read it all day because it's so good. So if you don't know what this one is about, it is about a billionaire who dies, and he leaves the main character with his entire fortune, except she must move into his mansion full of secret passages, riddles, and codes, which kind of sounds like National Treasure meets the Winchester House. But the house is also occupied by his family that he just disinherited and gave it to this girl instead. One of his grandsons is convinced that she must be a con woman, which, you know, fair. And he thinks that he should be the one to win. And so basically they all need to try to play the games to survive. And then one of the other grandsons views her as a twisted riddle, a puzzle to be solved. So yeah, I don't know. This one sounded so interesting. Every single aspect of this sounds so good. Sounds like a little love triangle between the brothers, maybe, I don't know. Not between the you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yeah, I think this one sounds cool. Secret passages, elaborate riddles, billions at stake, let the games begin. So this one just sounds so good. Like, I just get so excited when I think about reading this one. So this one's definitely, like, really close to the top of my TBR right now. That is all for today's video. I managed to get through it without my camera turning off a second time, which is awesome. Please let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these or what your thoughts are, if you think that they should be higher or lower. Interesting. On my ranking list. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys! The only people that can end life. No thanks, I choose life.
No thanks, I choose life.
Again, can I tell you what it's about? No, of course not. As Good as Dead and Bad... The Blood one.